Hi, my loves. This is Isabella Sanfilippo coming at you from WCHS Wall Township, and you're listening to the I Love You podcast. Today, we have a question, and we invite you guys to form your own opinion as well. But our question is romance dead? Joined with me today, I have
Alexa.
And Dia.
We're really just going into this question of is romance dead, and I think to start off, we should probably identify how we're talking about romance, like what romance is to us. And I think I'm going to talk about romance in kind of like the most basic sense, where it really just stems from effort, and it's asking someone to be your Valentine. It's the stupid promposals. Romance is getting the flowers that you know are their favorite. It's it's like when people used to go to war and they used to write the letters in the big fancy script just in the middle of the war, and then you get a letter and it's so pretty.
In the Notebook, when he wrote her for a whole year. I have not watched the Notebook, but I
haven't watched the Notebook either.
I know. It's a problem.
But that's how we're defining romance today. And in context with today's society, we're questioning, is romance dead? Is it still alive? I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I have my opinion, but I don't want to give it until the end.
I feel as though, like in our age group, romance, like romantically, is dead to be honest, for most of us. Because, I don't know, I feel like culturally, like things have changed from like the past. Like people still do promposals and like ask you to be their Valentine. It's just like less often. Like that's harder to find than it used to be, because it used to be more of like an expectation, I feel, and now it's like, oh my god, how did you find someone who would do that for you? Like, oh my god, that's so rare. So there are definitely people that like our age that are very like their romance life is beautiful, but I feel like most teenagers right now don't like to put in that much effort.
I agree with Dia. I think definitely among teenagers, it's like more dead. I think it definitely still exists in somewhere, I hope, out there. But I think like just like more like people are more, I feel like there's more like players and people who just like go around but don't really care, like won't put in the effort for one person. They'll just put it in for everyone just to get attention, and I feel like it's kind of an issue. It's sad.
That's how I feel about it too, actually. I think that there is an epidemic of what you look like freaks on Snapchat, and yes. I think that unfortunately in today's society we can't be passionate about something. We hate tryhards, we hate people who really care, and I think the best way to find someone is while doing something you're passionate about, like at school or something like that. Not this school, but
definitely not.
But
run. All jokes.
Oh, we love our school. That's gonna be edited out. This is live, but anyways. So, basically, the best way to find someone is through something you're passionate about, and it's like kind of coming together and collaborating in that sense. But the way that people find each other now is through social media. We see a lot of internet dating in the millennial world, and I just think that as a society, we've been so disconnected in just communication in general, and that's really why we see this disconnect of romance being dead. And I just think that romance should not be what you look like, abbreviated, not even fully typed out, there's absolutely no effort, not even a capitalized W. Romance is not WYLL. Romance is, hi, how are you doing? My name is blah, blah, blah. And then you shake hands. Like, maybe not shake hands. That sounds so like business deal, professional. But I just think romance has shifted in such a way where we've all just become disconnected in general.
Yeah, like there's so many what you look like freaks. And it's like, okay, what happened to hi, how are you? How was your day? Like people don't do that anymore. And I don't understand.
And I do think it kind of stems from the fact that as a society, again, we do kind of look down on people who try really hard, and it's not cool to be passionate about something and it, like everyone has to be so nonchalant.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Why, as a society, are we trying so hard to be nonchalant? Like, if you are nonchalant, good for you. But why is that the expectation? Like, why is being chalant too much?
I agree. I'm a very chalant person.
I'm also a very chalant person.
I do not have a nonchalant bone in my body.
Yeah. So I think our fear of making genuine connections and saying what you look like instead of how are you really comes from this societal value of being nonchalant. Because if you say, hi, how are you? Or, oh my gosh, you look so nice, or something stupid. Well, see, like, I'm doing it right now. I'm literally doing it. Sorry, I just spit everywhere. But I'm literally doing it right now.
Like, it shows you care. And then,
Yeah.
like, as a society, it's like, oh no, you're not supposed to care, actually. Like,
Exactly.
Don't do that.
So I just think that's really the issue because, you know, back in the 1900s, you got people writing Shakespearean sonnets confessing their love, like, oh, I don't even know, like,
Love of my life.
yeah.
Love of my life.
But
Okay.
now we have nothing. And of course, there's always going to be exceptions. Like Taylor Swift is our generational Shakespeare, I fear. And she has all of her love songs and things like that. And she's really looked down upon because of how she's expressing her feelings. That's just one example. But I just think as a society, we're really scared to show how we truly feel. And there are exceptions like Taylor Swift, like artists, like poets. But we have to think more about the rule rather than the exception because there's always going to be those exceptions. But the reality is, right now, romance as we knew it in the past might not be dead, but is dying because of our values and how they've shifted.
And also, I feel like with social media, like, we're always on our phones. We're always, like, even though it's not a real, like, interaction a lot of times, like, yeah, you can DM someone, but it's not the same as, like, a face-to-face conversation. So I feel like when we're just constantly consuming media and constantly seeing other people, even if it's just random strangers, like, scrolling on Instagram Reels, like, even if you don't know this person, it's still, like, it sometimes, like, it might, like, almost, like, form as, like, a substitute for, like, your social interactions, which it definitely should not. And then that's kind of, I think, has to do with, like, the not... like socially, like not being able to connect to other people.
And I think that people are a little too comfortable saying whatever they want online because it's like you're not talking to the person face to face. Like you don't have to see their reaction. It's like it's more of like a cover. Like in real life, some guys that text like however they text over social media would literally never talk to you like that in real life. It's just that people are afraid of genuine connections. And what you said about like social media, I feel like that made social media kind of makes life more fast, if that makes sense. Like you scroll and scroll. If you're bored of something, you scroll, and it just like people don't stop to really get to know a person or
it's like they
to
scroll
stop.
through people.
Yeah,
just
it's
like, oh, next person.
Yeah, it's like that they're getting into that type of mindset and they don't. Yeah, it's literally like, oh, on to the next person. Like people don't stop and think anymore or stop and like just like slow down. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
But like yeah, like these going back to the what you look like freaks, like they probably like they text that to like literally everyone because they're moving so fast and they don't even like they're gonna forget your face in like 2 days.
What I think is kind of interesting to think about, and it's almost kind of like this paradox situation, is humans crave other human interactions, but at the same time, we're also scared of saying how we really feel. So are we really connecting? Even though we want that deep connection, we're also scared of it. So it's this kind of weird vortex. I don't know. It's like so strange.
It's like people just want the validation of knowing, oh my God, I pulled so many girls, I pulled so many guys, and they don't, because that literally just like hires their ego. Like that's kind of why a lot of people do it, and they don't do it for the genuine connections, and it is killing romance. Like that's just how the culture, that's just how the culture is shifting.
That's a good way to put it, where it's like an ego boost, not like an actual connection. So I agree with that.
I saw something on TikTok, and it was like, for the people who are like bragging, like, oh, I pulled so many people, all this stuff. It's like, okay, did you pull so many people, or are you just easy to pull? Which I think that shift in mindset is like, you know what? Because like, if you don't pull a lot of people, it's just like, okay, you have standards, and that's not a bad thing. I think everybody should have standards, especially when it comes to romance, because if someone's not holding the door for you, like, I'm sorry, get out. Like, that should be an expectation. Like, if your man is not like fighting you to pay that check, like, if you're like, no, I got this, and they don't rip that out of your hand and are like, no, like, I'm paying this, like, honestly, maybe the argument is also like chivalry is dead, which that I think is kind of true, because
Yeah, like that kind of goes with this almost.
yeah, like, if your man doesn't hold the door for you, get a new man.
Yeah, it's like all of these like chivalrous acts used to be thought of as like the standard. Like, if you don't do that, you're not a gentleman. So like, what are you? Like what are you? Like get out. But I think now, like, gentlemen and just men that genuinely care, women that genuinely care too. It's just like, that is not an expectation anymore. Like, you don't talk to someone thinking that they care about you anymore.
And going off that, I think also maybe the question is romance dead in teenagers? Because I was just thinking of my parents, like, I don't think my dad has let my mom pay for like a single dinner in her entire life. And like, whenever we go out with like other families too, my dad's like fighting to pay the check. Like, with my grandpa's like, no, Chris, I got it. And my dad's like, no, give me that check right now. So like, I feel maybe as we get older too, we'll start to understand more. But also with that, I feel like as teenagers, we're the most hopelessly romantic, I feel like.
I sent Izzy, this is related, I swear. I sent Izzy an Instagram reel yesterday. I don't know if
I need to watch it.
You didn't watch it because you hate me, but whatever. Romance is I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but not. Izzy doesn't hate me, guys. But it was of these kids, like, in elementary school. They looked like 9, 10, and this boy asked her to be her Valentine and got her like a whole...
Oh my gosh, wait. So sweet. That's so sweet.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
And I think I told you teen boys need to step it up. I said something like that.
Boys our age need to step it up.
Boys our age need to step it up. I think that even like younger kids, while they might not like fully grasp the sense of like love or romance, I think that they see what adults have and then try to replicate it, and they're always like, oh my god, we're gonna get married, and then you go to those little like weddings at recess, and I think that it literally just gets lost at this age because people start caring more about their image and boosting their own ego, and just like or just like having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, and not actually thinking about if you really like that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, like, I have a boyfriend, but just for the sake of being like, I have a boyfriend, guys.
Yeah.
And not for the sake of like actually liking them. And also back to like the standards thing, especially here at CHS, mostly girls. And you know, we get I knew going into here that I had high standards, and I was not expecting. I'm not expecting to ever date anyone in the school.
I really do think that we need to keep our standards, because as society shifts into what you look like becoming the new standard, that is not my standard. I am not going to date someone who the first thing they said to me is WW or WYLL. Like, that's going to be a big fat no. So I think knowing what you want and keeping your standards is something that is so incredibly important, and they should not be compromised even when the bar around you has been set to the not even to the floor, like below ground, like subterranean.
Because even if it's not right now, even if it's like in the future, there is someone else that is perfect for you, that thinks exactly like you, that's like, oh my god, yeah, romance is dead, I don't know why like nobody else is doing this, you know? And so like keeping your standards high doesn't mean that you're never going to get into a relationship. It just keeps you from getting into relationships that don't benefit you. They don't give you anything other than, oh, like I have a boyfriend, like do I like him? Like not really, but but like he's there. Like he doesn't make me mad all the time. Like I don't know. Like I feel like we need to be reminded of why like we need to have genuine connections.
Yeah, and this goes for friends too. I feel like I, like this year, had a lot higher standards for friends, and then I realized I'm like, wait a minute. I feel like I could count on one hand the amount of people that I trust. And like it's benefited me. Like I know that like anything I say, like it's not like, oh, and then everyone's gonna know. Like it's not like I'm trusting the wrong people, but it's just like eye-opening to see. Like I raised my standards and now I have like no friends.
But it does go back to the quality versus quantity episode.
Yes,
I don't know
and that's what I was gonna say. Quality over quantity, Alexa. So it's perfect. Like, oh my god, it's like that Drake song, Fair Trade, and he said, "I've been losing friends and finding peace," but honestly, that sounds like a fair trade to me. Like, go listen to Fair Trade.
Real.
Such a good song.
Yes, Drake. Everything he says is so true. Okay.
Well, hold on.
So wait. Okay. So like.
Then that. Oh.
So never mind. But okay, a lot of Drake's lyrics are very real. I'm not gonna say all of them because that is in fact a lie. But and I think in the quality over quantity episode, I might have said that like because I like from you, I was like, oh yeah, like. I can count the amount of, because you said that to me first, I can count the amount of people I trust on one hand. But, like, that is not a problem. We just need to find the people in society that fit our standards. And if most people don't, that's okay.
And I think you'll be a lot happier because of it, because the only thing having standards are doing, like Dia said, is just preventing you from getting into the wrong relationships. And I think it's a blessing, honestly.
It is. And it's just like when you have low standards for like any kind of relationship, like it's just like a constant letdown. Like you still like you're expecting so much of this person because like in your mind you're still like, oh, I have standards, and then it's like, no.
You should never lower your standards to date someone because like no.
They're never all that.
But we're kind of running out of time today.
We are.
But there you have it. Romance. I don't think romance is dead, but I do think it is dying. And I do think that there's always going to be exceptions, but we do have to look at the rule. And the rule is the what you look like freaks are taking over. And just remember that not all people think romance is dead, and there are going to be those people who make sure to be romantic and put in effort. You just have to find the exceptions to the rule.
Well said.
Oh, random number.
Push for Davy. Okay. Goodbye.
Does oh my god.
Do you think romance is dead? Do you think romance is dead? Do you think that romance is dead?
I just didn't like the way she did it. No, what's your name?
Okay, thank you. So there you have it.
Declaration of the people.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode, and thank you to Pushpa Devi for answering our question.
At least, yeah, the ending.
And remember, we love you.